Aloha. Apologies for the wind. Just had to make a quick little note right now. In reference to the last video, I'll go into more depth, but this was just a thought relating to like the traditions of our people. When I say our people, if you have people, then you know what you're talking about, or you know what I'm talking about. Because there is a definite group of people who don't have real traditions, like natural traditions. This is the whole point of, in reference to the last video, I was saying how many indigenous traditions keep in mind the responsibility of preparing this land and your peoples for the next 7 generations. Like, making your moves, the moves that you make of today are made in with the next 7 generations kept in mind. This is what I was this is what I had to stop myself right now, because I was thinking about like the traditionless society, like the intentionless society, how society these days is just about, it's just really like this mainstream sort of idea of what we're supposed to be doing is mainly just like it's just about like reproduction, like have babies, be successful in the system, be successful within that world. That's the tradition of the world. That's the tradition of the Western, or the mind control slave population, is a traditionless mentality. It's a consciousness that thrives on maintaining the destruction of your natural traditions and responsibilities in order to, so your traditions are a direct threat to the traditionless society or consciousness. This is why you have the New Age out there saying like we're all one, everything is awesome, let's just be one and unite, and so on and so forth. It's all this cookie cutter ideas. This goes, and I'm glad I thought this up too, because this goes into the traditions within that traditionless society, because it's not really a tradition, but the language or the glue within that traditionless society is the theoretical universe. So like I was saying in the last video in reference to Graham Hancock, how he was talking about like, oh yeah, we are discovering now that there were people and civilizations in the Americas that were predating Egypt and so on and so forth. But people have been saying that, like the Washita have been saying that forever. So now, just like they're saying they're discovering or mapping out the DMT realm, they're doing the same thing with our culture and society. And then the thing is, they keep it, that mentality, that consciousness keeps it in Theoryville. It's always like, oh yeah, see, they hide their intentions of chaos and like conscious disruption. They hide it behind oops, like oops, we just fucked up. We just thought it was like this. We thought it was supposed to be. We thought the universe was heliocentric. Oops, like they play like it was a mistake. But these things are never mistakes. Like the Gulf of Tonkin, like all those things being pawned up as mistakes are ways to desensitize you to the depths of what's really going on. And if you are in a space of thinking you're from like a new age perspective, then on top of being desensitized from all the bullshit that comes within the system lying to you over and over and over again, and that is the norm, that's the story, like your best case scenario on a daily basis is just to have new theories. That's it. Just a new theory is good enough. Like a new theory about what's going on is good enough, because you don't have any ways to really think for yourself, and you're overwhelmed by the chaos that has been consciously injected into your reality. So most of our days, our moments are spent trying not to get caught up in the distractions a lot of the times, because you can see like what I call out of the distraction is like in the zone. Like what people call in the zone, I really think there's a way that we can, what athletes call in the zone, like there's a thinking. I've been in the zone, or whatever you want to call it. I've been in those spaces for an extended amount of time, like being in the zone and like sports and stuff like that. That's like lightweight being. It's like a lightweight version of like a psychedelic trip. It's like a conscious psychedelic trip. What being in the zone is like, you can't control anything. You're totally just kind of letting go, and you're dialing it in. It's just like I think it's the flavors are the same, or the frequencies are very similar, but obviously psychedelic trips are way more intense than that, because the athletic psychedelic trips, or the lightweight psychedelic trips of sports and stuff like that are they're limited by the physical realm, so they're not even going to step into the non-physical realm to get to that potency of what that space is. But just for example purposes, being in the zone is like what I think our normal state is, and as long as we are kept out of the zone by the distractions, like what keeps you out of the zone when you're playing a game? The distractions, like people fucking with people, getting in your head, you're having an off day, your body feels off in some kind of way, like physical distractions or psychological distractions. Something is distracting you. So being in the zone, kind of like being dialed into, like see, like these words, like they downplay what's really going on too. Like being in the zone is like how the word human downplays, what the complexities of what we really are. I want to end this video too, because I want to get back to what I'm doing, but I'll come back and start talking about the traditions, because the traditions of this mainstream society that a lot of people are still trying to protect, like the British Empire and the Western so-called civilization, those traditions are based on chaos. They're based on keeping a certain people up and other people down at their expense. And that's the thing, like until that even gets acknowledged, right now literally people are still defending that shit, and still people are not really even talking about it. People are still defending white supremacy. Like how literally that's what happened. People don't even know what they are, and they want to move into a world like the new age is mostly built up of so-called white people, and they're telling you in the new age community who you are. They're telling indigenous people in the new age community, so-called white people who identify as white, which is nothing. It's a made-up thing. They're telling indigenous people that they are from the Pleiadian galaxy, or the Pleiadian star system. They're telling them they're Andromedans and shit. Do we not see the disconnect there? So this is how you get a dream within a dream. You get twice separated from, like twice mind controlled, because you're putting yourself in a universe to escape another false universe. That's what the new age community is about. So so-called white people are in that space of, they're in that consciousness, in that tradition of looking to escape into another world, because their previous generations have lived and died many times over again, not ever really caring about those connections. And then you have the other guilt that's behind it, that's behind the actual storylines of stuff that's been going on, so nothing ever really changes in that world. So this is what I'm saying, in that world, until that stops being defended and like all that changes, then nothing really going to change. Right now you have Owen Benjamin talking about white privilege doesn't exist. And then DITRH is going on to his live stream and just being all cool, talking like a little fucking child, talking about, oh yeah, that's gay, oh it's gay, I don't want to talk about gay stuff in the Jews and stuff. They're fucking little teenagers and shit. This is garbage. It's ridiculous. So yeah, I'll leave it there. I'll get back and start talking about that a little bit later on. So take it easy.